Did you have at least one hearty, home-cooked meal today? Well, now, more people than ever are not able to say that they have. I've been studying the effects of nutrition, specifically in the US and a few small locations in Europe, for a few years now. Ever since I did a report on pesticides and how they affect produce's nutrients, I've been very intrigued. Now, more than ever, not only is there a call to the quality of our nutrition, but how bountiful we are able to provide for ourselves. It is getting more and more difficult to stretch our grocery budgets, and food scarcity is going to continue to poison communities, and the cure is not in sight. Hearing and learning about how food scarcity is impacting communities worldwide is very important knowledge to have. Once we are exposed to the issues we are all collectively dealing with, we can truly see how much we have in common. Then, use this common ground to find a permanent solution to this unfortunate situation many people find themselves in. However, to understand what we have in common, we should fully understand the what that it is we have in common. Well, first let's talk about what is the difference between food insecurity and food insufficiency. What is food insecurity? It is the inability of good quality food options or produce in the area or region. According to research from an American Action Forum, it encompasses the availability of a quality, nutritionally sound, desirable diet with variety. Then, on the other hand, what is food insufficiency? Well, simply put, it is how available food is in the home. When does the food crisis flare up? Food insecurity has proven that in the same journal as the American Action Forum, that the risk factors that cause the most concern are low-income households and the homeless, access to quality and efficiently priced food, whether you own a car or not, and disability. Now, there are these 4 factors proven to arise during the global food crisis. The global food crisis affects obviously more places than just a few select regions. And what are those main causes? Well, the main causes, according to the World Food Program, are conflict, like wars, but also more tame matters like tariffs, climate, such as the global climate temperatures rising, the economy, and displacement, and those are things like employment and housing. As stated in a report from UNICEF USA in 2024, there was an increase of 1 million people facing emergency levels of acute food insecurity across 39 countries and territories, with the biggest increase in Sudan in 2023. And to give a scope on this impact, there were over 705,000 people at catastrophe levels and risk of starvation in 2023. A 4-fold increase since the 2016, and that's the most ever reported. Based on current data we have from that same report that showed the trends of the global food crisis in 59 countries and territories, with about 292 million people had experienced high levels of this acute hunger in 2023, which would have increased 24 million more people than the year prior. Comparing these figures, we can prove the numbers are rising and conclude that they are not going to steady out soon enough. Now, why don't we bring it a little more close to home? The citizens of the US are still struggling from the effects of COVID, and we are still in need of assistance. The statistical analysis of people living in the US that have experienced this hunger crisis has been effectively recorded by FRAC, which is an organization, Food Research and Action Center, that runs reports on nutritional and legislative matters. In the report, food insecurity had affected 47.4 million homes in 2023, which was a mere 3.2 million increase since 2022. However, it is proven to be a huge jump from only 13.5 million in 2021. They say that this spike was largely driven by inflation in the rollback of the critical COVID-19 pandemic relief efforts. Now, who specifically is being affected in the U.S.? Similar to everybody else, FRAC reports that 13.8 million of our children have been affected by food insecurity, along with single-parent households, households in the South, rural and urban areas, and low-income households that have weathered these storms. A program that has been created, the McGovern-Dole International Food for Education and Child Nutrition Program, that can be found on USDA.gov, has these solutions for our struggles. It is since ongoing since 2011, and it provides resources that support food security for children internationally. Food crisis doesn't discriminate, and during this time, we need to be as resourceful as possible. Educating yourself as an American on the resources that we have to be successful, but also being aware of the climate of the rest of the world is important. The food crisis sweeping across the globe is strong, but if we band together, we can be stronger and beat it. At least one person in the audience comes a step more generous after hearing this speech, then that is one step into the right direction. All it takes to fight this is a community of people who have lived their day by doing one small thing to help somebody else.